All right, everyone. Glad to see you here on a Wednesday at the Voice of College Football. You know the drill. Leave those comments and questions there in the chat. We will say hi here very soon. And also, we've got the call-in line. That's in the chat as well. So give it a look. Be brave. Step up and give us a call here at the Voice of College Football. Talking the game we all love each and every day with you, Monday through Friday here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep in mind, this Friday will be late night. So you won't see us at 4. You'll see us late night. According to I Bleed Orange and Tukey G, they say 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So we shall show up at our appointed time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, for the one late night call-in show this week. We're going to talk some Nebraska football, and I think maybe we'll talk a few other things as we bring in Minnie Hunt from Corn Nation. Minnie, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here.
It is great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I got the honor a few weeks ago to be on Minnie's show, so that's on Monday nights. And when should everyone show up on Corn Nation on Monday nights to see you?
Okay, so on Monday nights, I'm on at 8 p.m. Central.
Very good. So 8 Central, 9 Eastern, everyone. Check out Minnie's show, Monday Therapy.
Monday Night Therapy.
Okay. Monday Night Football, Monday Night Therapy.
Yes.
Good thought.
It's a community-based therapy program for the Huskers.
I listened in on Monday. Yes, absolutely it is. It is that, and it's a fun time. It's for the hardcore football fans, but also the fringe and everything in between.
Yeah.
A little bit of fun, a little serious analysis mixed all together.
Right. I mean, I'm not, as you know, I don't claim to be an analyst by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a hardcore fan. And I love talking to people who know the sport, who have been fans even longer than me. So we just have a good time.
Well, Minnie, I think you could call yourself a hardcore analyst and you would fool 98% of the people out there.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I think you could pull that off.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk some Nebraska football, because I'm on record as of saying a couple weeks ago that there are 2 programs in the Big Ten that fascinate me this year. Right. One is USC, one is Nebraska, because I'm waiting for the big breakthrough. Now, in some respects, they did have some breakthroughs this past season. They got the win that got them to a bowl game, and then they won the bowl game. So they finally got that monkey off their back.
Oh my gosh.
Because you have basically not seen this team go to a bowl game. Well, I think you did when you first became a fan. But it's been a long drought.
It has been. Yeah, I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary of fandom. And, you know, that little ditty that you put on yesterday about Scott Frost being literally, what did you call him? The worst college football coach in history of Nebraska, or something along those lines. I mean, listening to all your points, I had to say, yeah, he was kind of right.
Okay. Let's be correct here. Okay. I called him the worst coach in college football.
Okay, that's pretty close to what I just said, isn't it?
You said he was the worst coach in Nebraska football. He might be that too. So I was ranking the coaches, and so we're in the middle of our week of ranking the coaches, and we'll get to that at some point down the line. Maybe today, folks, maybe we'll pick it up tomorrow. So we went from 70 to 50. Scott Frost, you didn't have to wait long to get to Scott Frost on my list. I did not approach the list this year thinking, oh, Scott Frost is going to be last. But as I started to sift through these coaches, he just kept moving down and down and down and down. And I could not rank anybody above him based on his work at Nebraska.
Well, okay. Here's the only thing that you did miss. He was pretty good at identifying talent. Cam Jurgens is, I mean, he just got a contract extension as center for the Philadelphia Eagles, $68 million, because Scott Frost decided to move him from tight end to center.
We'll move up Scott Frost 20 spots because of the Cam Jurgens decision.
Well, and we also we also got 2 guys in the NFL draft this past season, or just now, actually on Friday and Saturday, that he recruited. So,
Okay.
I mean, not all of it was bad.
Well, I'm not saying all of it was bad, but take the Scott Frost tenure at Nebraska. So
Mhm.
if we're still counting these players as Scott Frost recruits, of course, you did, and that's correct. He was the coach, recruited and signed these current players. Take the Scott Frost chunk of time at Nebraska, the players that he recruited and signed, and compare how many players he produced going to the NFL versus any other time in Nebraska football. Go to Mike Riley, go to Bo Pelini, go to Callahan, go through every coach, and you make that comparison. It's going to be a brutal one for Scott Frost.
I'm sure, but he didn't actually. I mean, I feel like he was set up for failure, partly. I feel like, especially the last season that he was here.
Well, I'm sure that you have some insight into that I don't. Not
Mhm.
necessarily because, like you say, it's been about going on 10 years that you've been a fan, but because of the people that you talk to that are ingrained as Nebraska, long timers.
Mhm.
But I am just basically taking recruiting classes that were decent under Scott Frost. So he did
Okay.
not improve the recruiting, nor did the recruiting regress under him. In terms of if you just look at the recruiting rankings, he
Yeah.
did about what a Nebraska coach does. He recruited around number 25 in the country, was pretty much what he brought in. But he did not move these players onto the NFL at anywhere close to the rate that his predecessors did.
Okay.
But even more important than that, he didn't win games.
That's the killer
Ah,
right there. That's where you get me. Take everything
no.
else around, away, and it's like, did he win games? No, no.
Are you going to be either secretly or maybe overtly rooting for Scott Frost?
I am.
Okay.
Absolutely, I am, because it appears that, I mean, I'll watch his interviews. I see what he's up to down there, and it appears he has learned his lesson. Like, he even said in one of his interviews that he's not, because he wasn't looking for a head coaching job, he didn't have a plan for, like, this is who I want for offensive line, this is who I want for defensive coordinator, things like that. So he just had to hire the people he doesn't even know, the best available is what he said, which I think in every other realm that you're involved in, having friends in your business circle is a good thing. But in football, you can't be loyal to your friends. They can't come along with you and be your position coaches. They'll bring you down. You have to hire the best person available. So I don't know. It
So
it seems like he learned his lesson.
I buy the Scott Frost explanation of why he was unprepared in hiring assistant coaches. I believe his position. I don't buy it in that should not be where a major college football coach is. Any major college football coach will tell you, if he's being honest, that he should have it lined up in his mind. This is who is out there that I want to hire. He should have been more thinking than that.
I mean, he was an analyst for the Rams. That's where he came from. Maybe he was thinking he was retiring. He didn't need to work. I mean, I think he got paid like $10 million, $11 million, something, just to paid off his contract.
So we got Mini Hunt here from Coronation. You can
Mhm.
catch her show every Monday on Coronation right here on YouTube. And that's at 9 Eastern and 8 Central. And Tukey G is playing off the title that I put in today's show, which is when is Nebraska going to be back? So you've probably run into the dig on Texas that is no longer applicable because they are back.
I know. Yeah.
But for a long, long time, post 2009, 2010, for about 15 years, it was a joke, a running joke. Texas says they're back. They're not back. So we'll move that from Texas to Nebraska now. So you, again, come from a unique position here, because just about any other Nebraska analyst I would bring on here, any YouTuber, they would have a long history with Nebraska football, and they would go back to the glory days, and then they would make all sorts of comparisons. So based on your unique perspective, but also, of course, having all these conversations that you do with all the folks that love Nebraska football on your channel and elsewhere that
Yeah.
uh, are you optimistic that Nebraska is going to be back? Meaning, and maybe you can define that for us, what back means. I've got my own definition, but it's more legitimate coming from you.
Well, I've said this to you in private. I don't know if I'm ready to share it with the world, but I will. What I consider being back is being in every game, being able to not have those blowouts. As a fan, for me, that's what matters. I don't want to be, you know, laughed at anymore. I want to be good enough where we can stick it out with every single team. We almost beat Ohio State. Almost last season. Those are the games. That's what I want to go away. I mean, if we're playing a really great opponent and we lose, I want to go away feeling like, yeah, we gave it our all. We could have won. That to me is more important than the wins and losses right now. But, I think the wins and losses will come if that's how we play.
We know the losses will come.
Hey.
Okay. So you like Scott Frost. You'll be secretly, or I guess not so secretly, because you've stated it out there, that you'll be rooting for him. But you are glad that Matt Rule is the head coach.
I'm thrilled. There's no better head coach for Nebraska. He has it down. What's important for Nebraskans? I mean, it's a shame that we are no longer going to have this walk-on program. I mean, people are their hearts are tied to it at Nebraska. And he makes sure that he highlights the walk-ons. Like there's this kid named Jacob Bowers who recently did a press conference, and this kid's a baller. They all wear the same shirts when they do their press conferences. And one of my favorite things about him is he ripped the sleeves off of his shirt. He's all bulky and like big, just giant. This guy's going to be a baller on defense. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of the many contributions Nebraska football has made to the sport, and it's being taken away. The strength and conditioning, obviously, Nebraska made famous when guys just played football and just kind of worked out in the field or in the factory or whatever they did on the side to stay in shape and run. But the weightlifting was brought to the forefront by Nebraska football, and then also the walk-on program that helped build this culture of hardworking teamwork, and that the walk-ons would help basically train and scout the players that actually hit the field. But then the walk-ons would play a lot of special teams, and some of them actually broke through and became impact players and starters. And yes, that is going by the wayside. Another added to the list of modern day college football casualties.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Rule's doing it the right way, doing everything he can to, keep Nebraskans tied to what's important to them, but also build a good football team. He's never said in any of the press conferences and anything I've ever heard him say, he's never said we have a good football team until just recently. He's always said things like, yeah, I think we could be good. We're getting there. Like things like that. Until just recently, he's said, yeah, we have a good team. And he's also said, this is the team that I've been wanting to coach. Because it's the guys that are wanting to do all that extra stuff. Like let's go out and thud, and just all these things that make it fun to watch football.
Well, I told you what I thought impressed me most about Matt Rule the first time I ever dealt with a man in person at Big Ten Media Days. It would have been the previous Media Days. So going into his first season in Nebraska, going into maybe a second season in Nebraska. Anyway, that on one end of the spectrum, I give you PJ Fleck, who can give is an orator like no other in college football when it comes to just delivering the cliches, and he's got his shtick down. And then you've got some other coaches that may not necessarily present themselves the best way. Deshaun Foster would be the king at the other end of the spectrum. I don't know if you remember Deshaun Foster of UCLA. He basically, it was like somebody woke him up out of his slumber and said, you got to give a speech at Big Ten Media Days in 5 minutes. Like he had no idea what this flight from Los Angeles to Indianapolis was all about. Like,
that's exactly right.
If you thought nothing about this until you hit the plane and sat on the plane for 3.5 hours, at least you had that time. But anyway, Deshaun Foster looked in over his head, but he actually coached some decent football this year, so I'll lay off of him. But Matt Rule, to me, was the guy that is polished, but still personable. He's a great mixture of those two things.
Yes. I mean, some people are like, oh, he's a snake oil salesman. And some people are like, oh, he's just a minister's son. He knows how to talk. I think this guy actually has a lot of emotional intelligence. He knows what is important to Nebraskans, and I think he's actually owned it himself. He's also went out and hired a ton of staff because he realized, okay, this is not working. What we had last, the first season and a half is not working with offense. And I think we knew that, our defensive coordinator was going to leave. So he hired John Butler. But he also got Phil Snow out of retirement. And I know you must know Phil Snow because 37 years in the business, I'm sure you've seen a lot of his work. And he's like Rule's right-hand man, as well as Dana Holgerson, offensive coordinator. We've got some coaches. We got Terry Braden from the Chiefs. And then we also got Mike Eckler from Tennessee as our special teams coach, which we needed help so badly on special teams.
Folks, if you have any questions for Minnie concerning Nebraska football or anything concerning college football, we're going to take our shot at it, whether you want to talk about the playoffs or the new, again, there's a ruling coming down. The hearing's been going on for several weeks, and we expect a ruling at some point between the NCAA and the courts. And so anything that's on your mind, we've left the link there in the chat. And it's funny that you said that Matt Rule is emotionally intelligent. I was asked the other day by someone whether I am emotionally intelligent. And I said, well, you tell me. That's like asking someone, are you self-aware? Well, observe the person. You come up with your own conclusion.
I don't know if many men probably think about that. But, as a woman, I guess that's something that I've noticed.
Some of us have had to be met with those type of conversations. So we become aware of those things, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about how my lack of awareness here.
Yes.
I didn't even notice this.
You didn't?
I did not notice this. Well, I don't have my contacts in, for one thing, but Troy V has brought this to light. The 1984 shirt is a nice touch.
Okay, I got to be honest. That that particular day, that particular phone call from that particular person, and having it go on and on
Who
and
could you
on.
be possibly talking
I don't
about?
know. I don't know. But, about BYU runs in my head still to this very day, just how okay, for backstory, anyone that has not heard this story, Mark has done a video about BYU 1984 and how they actually probably did not deserve to be national champions, co-national champions, right? In 1984.
National champions.
Okay. And because of that video, it spurred one person in particular to have a lot of commentary about why they actually were like the greatest football team in all history. And it's it's comical to me
And it
because
goes on today. It hasn't stopped.
and so I just think of, now anytime I hear the year 1984, I can't help it. I just think of BYU.
I think I told you I went back. First of all, this video is old enough that I don't even think I was shaving at the time. Like this guy's digging up a 5-year-old video. And I think I told you that when I looked it up, I counted his comments and it totaled like 54 in 2 or 3 weeks. Like now, it's just doesn't stop.
Yes. 1984 was a good year for BYU. Hey, you know what? They're actually like, and I laugh at the pre-rankings because nobody really knows. I mean, nobody knows. But they're like ranked kind of high right now. I
I've
mean,
not seen any preseason rankings, but to that, the thought where you're taking us with that, I have the last few years produced not just my own preseason rankings, but I've looked at the AP rankings to show how ridiculous they are preseason. What I've done is shown, okay, this was last year's preseason AP rankings. Now, how many of these were accurate? And they get roughly half of the top 25. That's pretty bad. That's like throwing darts at a dartboard when
okay.
you can only get half.
And that just goes to show you how flawed the system was before. Before, when the AP poll and the coaches poll were the deciding factors, I never even knew that.
Somebody should write a book about that.
Somebody should. Maybe there's something going on in the 90s that they could write about.
They could. Like if we go back to, I'm looking for the 2024 preseason rankings, and every time I do this on my laptop, it reminds me that I got like a $2,500 camera sitting right there. But anyway, that I should not be typing on my camera/laptop. All right, these are the rankings preseason from last year, and we will see. Of course, they hit some. You've got to hit some. Some of these teams show up every year, so it's pretty easy.
Mhm.
Oh, that's the final. I'm sorry. So the preseason looked like this. So yeah, we've got Georgia number 1. They probably finished 5 or 6. Ohio State was number 2. They finished number 1. Oregon started number 3. They finished number 1 in the regular season. Then they dropped. So they did pretty well through the top 4. Now Alabama finished like 13th or 14th. And the ones that really missed were Michigan, lost 5 games, and Florida State was 2-10.
Oh my gosh.
So I believe they got 6 out of 10 because Alabama and Ole Miss did not finish in the top 10.
Now, you do preseason rankings as well. What's your percentage of correct?
Well, nobody's supposed to check me. I would have to go back and look.
I'm just
Most
asking.
recent thing that happened, Minnie, in college football was we had a college football playoff, and I picked all 11 games right. So that's what I'm going with right now.
Well, okay.
Anytime you're a predictor, what you do is
Mhm.
you highlight the high points.
That's like anybody who's a gambler. You only talk about the money you won. You never talk about the money you lost.
Yeah, that's a dangerous deal right there for most people, because you either, if you're on a hot streak, then you think it's never going to win, never going to end, and if you're on a cold streak, you think it's going to end the next bet.
I know. That's why I don't gamble.
No gambling for you?
No,
Do you make
no.
predictions?
I do occasionally. Depends on if I've had a White Claw or two.
That's when the predictions flow.
Yes, that's when I feel like I can, be more risque with my predictions, with what I actually think.
We make risque predictions.
I'm always afraid, like, I just always don't wanna bring any bad luck to my team. Anything I really care about, I don't wanna make a prediction on.
So no Nebraska predictions. You stay away from those.
I mean, I will, and usually I just go with, more of an optimistic prediction. So, yeah. But I'll tell you, last season, after Indiana killed us, they beat the snot out of us. I was had everything all planned out. I was supposed to go to Ohio State. I think we had a bye week in between, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's absolutely no way I can go. It will make me sick to my stomach if I have to deal with this again." And Indiana wasn't supposed to be anything, and here we are. We have to go play Ohio State, and I'm like, I just don't think I even want to go. And we went, and even though we didn't beat you guys, when my head hit the pillow that night, it was like sweet dreams, because I just was like, this is what I want. That's what I want. That feeling right there.
When you say you guys, are you talking to my chat?
No, I'm talking to you.
Well, I know that, but I'm just a neutral college
Mhm.
football analyst.
Uh-huh. The college football show doesn't give you any kind of hint towards any type of
Okay. You're just gonna have to trust me on this. You're just gonna
okay.
have to believe me. There's a couple things that have happened here. So our logo and our color design, not here on this show, but on the channel, you see silver, you see red,
Mhm.
you see black, white. And I got to tell you, it was a couple years into this thing that somebody pointed out those are Ohio State colors. That's obviously why you use them. There they are.
Yes.
And I was like, that's the first time it ever dawned on me. It was just like, I wanted it to be red. That's bold. Black is obvious. The silver goes with the red and the black. It just fell into play. The same thing with this. No, this is a touch of arrogance right here. That's what that is. Sorry to say, everyone. I admit it, at least. The college football show.
Ooh. All right.
Plus, that's arrogance, and it's also a lack of creativity. I don't come up with show names.
Well, as long as you don't get copyrighted for using the.
I'll just say I call it the.
Good one. I
Got
like
some
it.
Notre Dame fans in the chat. What do you think of Notre Dame?
I think exactly what you think, as far as they need to pick a side. Pick any side. I don't care. Just do it like everybody else.
But we got nobody in play to force them to do that.
No, that's
So
where
I
you
don't
come
blame
in.
them. As a Nebraska fan, have you built up any angst toward any particular team or
Yes.
coach, fan base?
Oh gosh. Where should we
Oh,
start,
there's a big
Mark?
list.
Well, at the very tippy top would be
Eh,
Colorado.
Oh, okay. I was going to guess.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Do you
So
want to guess?
Colorado, and that's because they've only played. They have played Nebraska quite a bit since you've been a fan. They obviously played the last 2 years, and then they played during the end of Scott Frost's tenure there twice. Those are 2 games Nebraska blew in typical Nebraska fashion.
What a Rolodex you have in your head there.
Remember, they had a 17-0 lead in Boulder. They blew that.
Would
And
you
then they played
not?
a great game in Lincoln, and LaVisca Chenault, Colorado wide receiver, made some amazing plays in that game, and they pulled it out like 36-33, something in that range. I mean, don't hold me on the score there. But then, of course, Jeff Sims was the quarterback in Boulder a couple years ago, and he pretty much just handed them the football every other play. And
That was so sad. After that game, I was there. After that game, I went up because one of my friends I was with knew where the players were coming out. So we went to, go tell them good game. And when he walked out, because he had a high ankle sprain, so he had his arms around like family members and he's limping. And I went up to him and I said, "You did so good. I'm so glad I got to see you play." And he just looked down at me and gave me the biggest smile. Such a nice kid.
you said this to who?
Jeff Sims. I
You
know.
said you did so good.
Well, he got hurt.
I understand he got hurt. I know that he didn't play the entire game. He got hurt. And I appreciate where your heart's at. I so much appreciate that. But you can tell the truth and still be compassionate.
Really? You think I should have went there and just shit on him?
No, I didn't tell you to do
Just
that.
ignored
I
him?
told you you can refrain from saying
What would
things
you
that are.
say? What would you say if you're
I'd
going
say,
there? Say, good game?
good game. You gave it a good try.
You'd be like gritting through your teeth. Good
Your
game.
your 18th pass of the game was a good one.
See, I can't bring myself to that.
You played a good game. It's a horrific game. We all know that. So does Colorado, do they make it number one on your most hated list or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah,
Because of
they're up there.
they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and beat up your team?
No, they're just horrible, horrible individuals.
Oh, the fans?
Fans, players, everybody.
They did not treat you well in Boulder.
Obviously not.
Okay.
People actually wanted to fight me. I don't say anything mean to anybody ever. And little girls, college girls were wanting to beat me up. They were yelling profanity at me from across the street.
Yeah, people take these things way too seriously.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen such a thing. It's like, okay, this is.
You may want to use this in your marketing, branding, something. Adam is saying Minnie's dreamy and retiring analyst style is a true original.
That's interesting. I know I am dreamy. Retiring?
Minnie's a star.
Oh, thank
Adam
you.
always ignores me, and he gravitates to my guess, which is fine, Adam. That's fine. I can take it.
You have the college football show, Mark. Give me something. Okay.
So your team did make amends this last year and beat up on Colorado.
Yes, we did. Thank you. Yes, we did. And it felt so good. And I don't like anybody ever getting hurt, by the way. This is like, I don't want anyone to ever get hurt. But it was it kind of felt good to know that our running back broke the arm of Shiloh Sanders on one play. I didn't know it happened during the game. I didn't know till after. But it was like, that's how tough we need to play right there. That's how tough we should play every single game.
I bet you didn't go up to Shiloh Sanders after the game and tell him he played a good game.
I did not. I didn't. But if I would have seen him, I would have told him something nice. I don't know what. I probably would have apologized for his broken arm.
It said, you and your brother and your dad are interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting characters.
Yep, they are. They are.
Minnie, we've got a call.
Oh, yay.
That our buddy Will ND's chiming in.
Hi,
Will,
Minnie.
what's going on?
Hi, Will.
Minnie, do you think that Matt Rule's like on the right track? Like, do you think that they can get back to at least being a contending for a playoff each year under Matt Rule?
I do. I absolutely do. The reason why is because we have made every effort to get top talent. We just had a transfer portal haul of a bunch of 4-stars. You know, before, just even a few years ago, when Mark reminded us under the years of Scott Frost, when we would get a 4-star to come and visit, everyone was so excited, like, oh my gosh, this could be the guy. Now we're getting that left and right. And we even have a 5-star quarterback talent. So I think, yeah, we're definitely on the right track.
And who do you think, like, can you rank the Big Ten fan bases that you've been there? So you go to all the games. What are your favorite and least favorite fan bases? Can you rank them?
It's a good question.
Mean, I don't know. I like them all. I really do. I feel like everybody's really nice for the most, especially when you're in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just certain rivalries where they don't want to be nice to you. They just, yeah, I don't
Where
like
have
that.
you been?
I've been, California, Lincoln, Ohio, and I think that's about it.
So you went to the USC game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was great. See, that was another one where we should have won. We were that close.
I think Minnie's the only person I'd have on here who comments that was great after they lose in the last 3 seconds.
Well, I can never do that.
It came down to really a bad call, essentially.
Yeah, there should have been a pass interference.
Yes. And, I'm standing there and I'm watching the game and I'm waiting for the call. Dylan Raiola is standing on the field. He's just like right there. And I see him also waiting for the call. It's like, no, the game isn't over. And, USC is celebrating. We're waiting for them to make the call. And they don't. Are you kidding me? That's the type of luck that we get. But, we're used to that. And we have to build our own luck. I think.
Wait a minute. I'm going to call you on that one.
What?
What are we saying? That Nebraska gets bad calls?
Yes. They never
really?
give
I
us
didn't
the
know that
benefit
this
of
was
the
a
doubt.
thing. I didn't know that this was a thing that people talked about like it was a given. Oh, yeah, Nebraska gets bad calls all the time.
Okay.
I wasn't aware.
Really?
I just thought Nebraska was bad.
No, there were so many calls where Matt Rule, they're not allowed to comment on the call, but he would have to write the NCAA about the call like the next day. And what happens? If they miss a call, they just miss a call. There's no repercussion. Nobody ever gets fired or fined.
I don't know what based mark means. Maybe we can clarify that. But Levi says that every good team and their fans think that they don't get any calls.
Okay, Levi, that's fair. Perhaps. Isn't he? Levi is a Ducks fan, right?
Levi is an Iowa State guy. He does our Iowa State show.
That's right. I actually am interested in Iowa State because of him. He was great to listen to.
Levi does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't like Colorado. And well, I don't want to cut you off, Will. You're our caller here. Is there anything else you?
What are your thoughts on Iowa? Like that's kind of become the rivalry now
It
for
is.
Nebraska.
It is. And I know there's a lot of Iowa fans that watch this show. So I'm going to tiptoe. I just think that they know how to play ball one way.
It would be more interesting if you didn't tiptoe.
Okay, but I'm going to because I'm afraid of certain people that have kicked other people off. The show.
I'm the only person here that can kick people off.
You know what though? I think you gave permission to Erica.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw her kick somebody.
Got mods. I don't even know who our mods are at this point.
I'm not.
I just delete comments and time people
me.
out if it's
Will's
if it's
one of
really
our mods.
bad.
There we go.
She scares me a little bit. I mean, she talks trash. She thinks Iowa's like the greatest thing.
She loves Iowa
ever. But the thing is, they're only good at defense. That's it. That's all they do every year. So, I mean, we definitely outplayed them last season. We should have won that game. I can't believe we didn't. So,
and last thing, how good do you think Dylan Raiola is going to be for Nebraska when it's all said and done? Do you think he can be better than all the Martinezes?
Oh, are you kidding me? Absolutely. This kid, he's not a kid anymore. He's going to be 20 next week. I've never seen anyone throw a football like him. And having an offensive line that he can trust, you know, these guys that we have 7 guys that have like 30 plus snaps taken at the offensive line. And having those guys and having backups is going to help tremendously, as well as our offensive coordinator, Dana Holgerson. So, yeah, I think he's going to be the dude.
I'm going to do a search here on YouTube, and I'm going to look up Dylan Raiola's best throws of 2024 and see if anybody's made that compilation.
Oh, that would be amazing. You know what?
I didn't see them.
He just did a swoosh through a basketball net from the 50-yard line.
Did he do it during a game, though?
No, but it was okay. It's a competition.
This is my point. He did not have a good season. Now he's a true freshman, so I give him a lot of slack there. But he was pretty less than marginal.
Okay. You're right. He was a true freshman, and he's had to take that leap. And also, he's in the best shape of his life. You know, he kind of lost all that baby fat, but more importantly, he's more comfortable, like commanding the offense.
He's going to look more like his hero now that he's lost all that baby fat.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I don't care. Say whatever you want to say. There's worse heroes.
Minnie's not going to like me after this show. I'm just taking a few opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, at least his hero isn't Shannon Sharp. So.
What do you think, Will?
I mean, I know he was most true freshmen sit their first year. And not every true freshman looks as good as DJ Lagway and Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to give him a pass for his last season. But I want to see improvement. I want to see him step it up.
You will. Just watch. We also got a ton of new wide receivers, great wide receivers. And we also got, new wide receivers coach. That's the one thing that Dana Holgerson said whenever he came to Nebraska is the one guy I want to bring with me is Da'Keil Shorts, his wide receivers coach. And he moved over from Kentucky. So I think you're going to see a huge, huge increase in yardage and less interceptions and all that stuff that makes you go, oh, he's amazing.
They got one of the Kentucky wide receivers, right? It was either Dane Key or Berrien Brown. I forget which one.
Dane Key. Yeah,
okay.
We got him.
All right. Well, thanks, Mark and Minnie. Just wanted to chat a little in Nebraska. Hopefully the Huskers step it up and get
We're
back
pulling
to
for
at
'em.
least 8 wins. At least 8 wins.
Yay! Oh, easy. We got
Easy.
it.
All right.
Mhm.
All right.
Thanks,
I
Will.
will.
Good to see you. Easy 8 wins.
You looked at our schedule. You ranked it even.
Oh, that's been so long ago. I don't remember what I said. I thought that 8-4 was doable.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah. I think honestly, it could be better than that. But I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying it could be.
You'll have to tip a few back before you make a prediction.
Yeah. I'll do that Friday night.
Mike says 8 wins for sure.
Good call, Mike.
You may not know this, but I used to do a Nebraska show every week.
What?
I did a Nebraska show. So the Justin Adams show,
Yeah.
I did that until he just took over last May. So I did the first, 150 shows or whatever it was.
Oh
and I handed it over to Justin. So I
How
was
do you
keeping up
do
with
that?
the Huskers.
How do you do that? How do you stay? It is literally, it's almost like a full-time job just keeping up with the Huskers. There's so much going on. How do you keep up with all of these different college teams?
It's what I do, or at least what I used to do. I don't keep up with them as well as I used to. I've knocked off some of these teams. No more Nebraska shows for me. Oklahoma, Florida State, USC, those are all gone. Michigan, I used to do.
It's not over for Nebraska, Robert.
I am going to be, again, intrigued just to see what the baby steps are this year and what they could be in the future.
Just pay attention to what is going on. August, what is it, 28th? 28th, we have our first game against Cincinnati.
And you better win that one.
Oh. Wasn't it you that said that Cincinnati is actually doing pretty good? I forget who I was.
That was not me. I don't know that I've uttered anything about Cincinnati in quite a while.
Well, talking about Cincinnati, it always makes me think of Luke Fickell. And isn't he, I know that, this is kind of going backwards of what you were talking about earlier, yesterday or the day before, about Luke Fickell and how you had him ranked so highly as a coach because of what he did at Cincinnati but that was Cincinnati. Isn't that kind of a similar thing as Scott Frost was set up for? Like we thought, oh, they're so good because of where they came from and what they accomplished. What if Luke Fickell's exactly the same? It appears that he kind of is.
So based on the comparison, the UCF Cincinnati comparison for those two coaches, and based on Fickell's first 2 years at Wisconsin, I cannot deny or refute anything that you just stated. I still tend to think that Luke Fickell is a better coach than Scott Frost, but based on the record and based on just the correlation that you just made, I cannot refute that to date in any way.
So maybe next year we'll have a different bottom of the barrel coach.
Luke Fickell, if he still has a job.
I know. Oh, gosh.
All right, Minnie. Well, you also do a show on Thursday, correct?
I do. I do a show on Thursday nights. That one is more of, let's just call it a variety show. You never know what you're going to get with us. Sometimes.
I'm sorry.
No.
I was just going to say we're bringing back the variety shows.
It totally is. I'm not even kidding. It's a lot of fun. I always have a co-host. His name is Greg Mahachko. And, he's been doing this for years. But it's funny because before I started doing the show with him, there was like no prep work, kind of like what you do, Mark. And see, that drives me crazy. I have to have notes in front of me. I have to have facts in front of me. I can't just off the top of my head pull up, okay, yes, Nebraska played Colorado 4 times in the last 10 years, and these were the scores. I don't know how you can do that. That's like kind of freaky. But anyways, so I have notes and I share my notes with him, and then he decides to not use my notes. And then we have like theater shows and I don't know, just stuff. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Chat is a lot of fun.
Cool. Variety show. It's like Sonny and Cher of the 2020s.
Kind of, I suppose. Yeah. We could do one. You and I. See, like we do like fun games. Like
I don't know if I'm the guy to do that. I don't know if I could pull that off.
The Mark and Minnie variety show.
Although I do have quite the entertainment background.
Yes, you do.
From my youth. I was the Pied Piper in our 6th grade play.
Now, come on.
Little soft shoe, singing, the whole deal.
You did not. You can sing?
No, I didn't say I could sing. I said I was the Pied Piper of our 6th grade play at school.
I think that's awesome. Can you give us a little bit of your lines?
You got to be around at the right time. I have delivered a few singing lines from time to time, but it's got to hit me. It's usually late at night. It's usually maybe around Christmas time. Maybe a little White Christmas comes out or something like that.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever, well, you don't really watch the NFL, do you?
I used to love the NFL. You know what I watched last night? I watched, well, you're never going to guess, so I don't know why I phrased that in a question, but I was watching the 1969 NFL playoffs last night.
Why?
Because I was hungry and bored, and I jumped in the car and I went and got a few slices of pizza, and I came back, and when I flipped open my laptop and thought, you know what, I'm not working while I'm eating pizza because I want to enjoy my pizza. So first thing that popped up, which obviously plays off of other stuff that I've watched, was like the 1969 Kansas City Oakland playoff game. So I just clicked it, start watching it. And then I clicked on another one. I watched the AFC Championship. Well, I kind of skimmed through them. I didn't sit there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But for about 45 minutes, I was skimming through these. I can watch old NFL playoff games. Absolutely. Love it.
I watched recently the 1984 Holiday Bowl.
Time out. You watched the 1984 Holiday Bowl with BYU and Michigan.
Yeah.
24-17. Yes.
I watched the whole thing.
Robbie Bosco.
I have to say, one of the things I loved about it is the announcers. Is it just me? Or were announcers way more fun to listen to back then? Now they actually have opinions. I don't want to hear their opinions. I don't want to hear any of their opinions. Don't tell me what to think.
I'm going to have to look that up. That was probably a Raycom broadcast. Do you remember who was doing the broadcast?
But I loved it.
Have you ever heard of Raycom? Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
No. You want to explain?
So I'm guessing there are folks out there that know what I'm talking about when I say Raycom. So like back in the day, 80s, 90s, and I'm sure before that 70s, that if you were watching bowl games, for example, all the big bowl games are going to be on ABC, NBC, CBS. There was no Fox. But the minor bowl games, the Liberty Bowl, the Tangerine Bowl, the Bluebonnet Bowl, I could name a bunch of bowls that no longer exist, the Garden State Bowl, the Freedom Bowl. You'd watch those and they would be broadcast on your local, I don't even like UHF station. Like for us in Cleveland, it was Channel 43, the station that plays favorites. And they would take the Raycom broadcast and they would show it.
Oh.
And it was like a CW of today. So I'm almost positive Raycom would have been doing that game.
That's cool. See, these are the things that you should just write a history book. That way you can get all that information out of your head, out of your brain, on paper.
You know what I wish I would have done? I don't know if anyone would buy this book, but before I left ESPN, I should have downloaded a crap load of stuff. I could have written a book on that place.
Oh my God. See, this is what I'm here for. I want some juiciness. What kind of stuff? What kind of stuff?
That's a great segue, actually, because we're going to do a Patreon member and YouTube member live stream here in the next couple of weeks, because I want to find out what people want first and foremost. But hey, yeah, if they wanted to ask me whatever they want to ask me, then we'll also do that.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun. I'm game.
Okay. All right. Didn't know if anyone was going to back me up on Raycom. Yes, a few people did. Oh man. Yeah, watching bowl games back then was phenomenal.
And also the gigantic, pads that like bounce whenever the guys would run. It's like, what are those?
What did those pictures do? Of myself playing high school football with pads that go out about that far. And
what was the purpose of that? And nothing for their neck. So forget it. If they get hit, their neck goes, 45 degrees. It's like, yes, what were those supposed to do? Just give you big, gigantic shoulders and make you look tough?
Well, basically, they were just like most things. They had not yet perfected what their original intent was, and that's to protect the players. Yeah. And so they just build a generic one-size-fits-all kind of shoulder pad, and that's what you got.
Yeah. Doreen wants to know if I'm on X. I don't even know. No, I've never been on X. I don't know what that would be like.
You're technically on X, but you're not on X.
Okay, I think
you don't use
Twitter. Did she mean Twitter?
Yes.
Okay.
That's X.
I thought she meant the drug.
Okay.
No, I'm not on.
Maybe she does.
I don't know. Twitter. I do have Twitter, but I'm not on it very much. But yeah, during the season, I am more.
And for the record, Minnie is also not on X.
Sorry. These are the questions. Those are the types of questions I get normally on a Monday or Thursday night. So
yeah, we run a football show here, Minnie.
Yeah. Until you take certain phone calls and it's just on from there. That's my favorite.
I think before you found us, and this was after one of the playoff games, it was a bit surprising because I took a lot of calls. We actually had a nice crowd and all of that. But after, 90 minutes of football analysis, I guess people were tapped out for the night. They started asking me music questions, and we ended up sitting here for like another close to 3 hours talking music.
I know that actually could be fun. I always love it whenever people have interesting things in their background. Like the other night, you were on with a guy who had some. No. Yeah, you had a guy on with some guitars in the background.
Yes, that was Levi.
Levi, yes.
The Iowa State guy.
Yes, and that was so cool. It's like, tell me more. Tell me about these guitars.
Yeah, Levi might play in a band.
Maybe. See? Now we don't know. If you have stuff in your background, tell us about it if you come on the show.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to keep things out of my background.
Well, you know what you do have, Mark, and it's been driving me crazy. You have a shirt that I know you said you washed it, but did you realize one of the arms is tucked in?
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
It's been driving me crazy.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So much better.
Our buddy Corey on the Iowa channel before we started yesterday. So I pop him on, and the first thing he goes, you got merch, you got a shirt. Excellent. I go, whoa. Before you say anything else, This is just to hang here. I don't have any merch. I used to have merch. That's where that came from. But that was basically me just doing a little research, or somebody brought something up. So I went and looked at a show from, it might have been the whole Chris Foot thing. So I went back about 5 years ago, and my set was so much nicer looking and more aesthetically pleasing, but it included hanging merch off of my shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, where'd that shirt go? Because I don't wear shirts that look like this. So I've never worn it, but so I thought, but then I did realize the stupidity in hanging a shirt, which promotes merch that I don't have. I get it, but I just still felt like doing it.
And keeping it up.
Yeah, and I've just kept it up.
Okay. I'm not sure I still feel, follow this logic.
Oh, it's not, there's nothing logical to it.
But that's the thing. This is so not you.
It just looks kind of bare. And I was trying to bring my standards up to where they used to be.
Decorating with a shirt that you don't even carry. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I think you're better off with just the helmets. Just saying this is what I used to do. I was an interior designer, so I'm happy to give you pointers.
Yeah, I need the pointers. I just can't promise I'll follow through on them.
I know. It's okay. This is fine. This is good.
No, it's really not. Plus, I've got LED lights on the floor, and you can't even see unless it's dark. When it's dark in here, then you can see them.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam's a bit upset. Excuse me, and rightfully so, because I have failed to recognize his super chat. So, Adam, thank you so much for the contribution. What we have here from Adam is Nebraska will be back, but not now. The actor playing Dylan Raiola is at best mediocre. Walk-ons are generally useless. Rudy was a bum. Well,
okay. Adam, usually I agree with your takes. I mean, I've actually 99.9% of your takes I agree with. This, however, when you talk about Dylan Raiola, you are way wrong. You just watch. I don't even want to say it because I think you guys are just going to have to sit back and watch, okay? He is going to be amazing.
So maybe I was a little harsh on Dylan a few minutes ago. The point, if I would have made the complete point, is that in my estimation, Dylan Raiola was a marginal quarterback last year, but there has to be the understanding that it was his true freshman season. Mm-hmm. And he is one of the few that are put into that position. That doesn't happen often.
True. Especially, you just have to take everything into consideration. His dad played at Nebraska. Okay. His dad's numbers retired and on the stadium. Like this, bringing Nebraska back to greatness means so much to him and his family. His whole family is invested in this. His brother's committed. His brother's going into his senior year down at Buford, Georgia. He's a left-handed quarterback, and he's even committed to coming to Nebraska. His sister works for recruiting at Nebraska. Like the whole family is involved. Everyone is getting behind this.
And this is making it more difficult for him? I thought that was the point to that whole spiel.
Oh, sorry. I lose track. I feel like this is there's building blocks that you have to take. You have to have that foundation. And one of the problems is, he made his decision to come to Nebraska after we were already going in this direction. Okay. He made it in December of 2023. So we were already going this direction. We even had Kyle McCord come to Nebraska for a visit. Like, he was going to be our quarterback. And then as soon as Dylan said, no, you know what? I don't want to go play at Georgia. I want to play at Nebraska. I want to bring Nebraska back to greatness. We're like, okay, so this plan that we had, we have to like stop, and we have to go and quickly get some dudes for him to throw to. So that's when we went to the transfer portal and we got the best available wide receivers we could get. But this year, because we have had that time to build with him, around him, an offense, I feel like this is really the year that you're going to see a huge jump. Not only that, you realize that in the second year of any player, usually this is when quarterbacks make their big jump.
True.
I am always talking trash about the decor. If it's not up to my standards is all. Pitt. That's all.
I don't know, Pitt. I try.
I'll just help you out. I'm not talking trash. I'm just helping.
We'll work on it at some point. We'll get after it. Well, folks, we do appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. And you can catch, again, Minnie on Corn Nation. So that's every Monday and Thursday night. Same time, right? 8 Central.
8 Central on Monday nights, and then 9 Central on Thursday nights. Yes.
Okay. Make it difficult on people.
I know. Gotcha. I wish it was the same time, too. Do you know how many times I've messed it up?
I am in the process of finding your channel. There we go. I don't know how many times you've messed it up.
A lot. Well, remember when I had you on, I'm like, oh, I do this all the time because I sent you the wrong time.
You did.
Yeah.
So there we go. Corn Nation. Fine people over there, headed up by our buddy John.
Yes. John Johnston. Which he'll be back, hopefully, for the season.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Minnie, you, of course, are welcome anytime.
Thank you. And same with you, Mark. You're welcome anytime to join me.
Well, I at times have not necessarily the kindest things about Nebraska to say. I don't intentionally pile on Nebraska, but of course I may not serve your fan base there.
That's true. That's true. You know what, though? There's a lot of, for the most part, there's a lot of OGs, right, in our fan base. There's a lot of people, like you pointed out, who have been there to see the greatness that Nebraska has been through. And they're just like hanging on, like for dear life. They're like, okay, we've heard it all. We've seen it all. It will never happen again. So they'll probably agree with most of what you have to say. I'm the only one who's like, no, things are looking great. Let's drink some more Kool-Aid.
So when I said, yeah, maybe I wouldn't be the best guest for your show because I kind of tell it like it is. Yeah, I was expecting some type of response like, oh, no, you'd be great to have. No, Minnie's like, yeah, you're probably right. It wouldn't be good for you to be on our show. All right, Minnie, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I know people enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you.
And, we will see you soon.
Okay.
Again, that's Minnie Hunt, Corn Nation, Mondays and Thursdays. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. My next stop is the Miami show. We're coming up on 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's over, of course, on the Miami channel with Cam Underwood from State of the U. So 7 p.m. Eastern time for me. And we've got the On the Move show, our recruiting and transfer portal show with Leanne Herring. There it is. That's tonight at 8:30 Eastern. So 2 more shows for me. Miami at 7. The On the Move show with Leanne Herring coming up tonight at 8:30 Eastern. So make it on back and we will talk some more college football with you. Leanne will be a proverbial encyclopedia of the transfer portal and the current recruiting scene in college football, as she always is. So we are looking forward to that. 7 and 8:30 tonight, Miami, and the recruiting update. We will see you then.